All right, let's go.
On May 8th, 2021, a woman
Four missing persons found alive on video.
named Malie Perales was driving down the Packer Drive Northeast Road alongside the Rogue River in Belmont, Michigan. She and her 2 roommates were on their way back after a night out, and they were all in a cheerful mood. However, their smiles quickly
Oh, wait, double audio?
vanished as they stumbled onto a horrifying scene. At around 2:30 a.m., while driving near the Rogue Hollow Court, one of the passengers spotted a strange figure lurking by the side of the road. This encounter was extremely terrifying, but it also sparked the group's curiosity, and after some deliberation, they decided to turn around, and this is what they then came across.
What the
Stop. No,
Stop.
I'm not. No. Hell no.
What the
Oh. They were soaked.
They saw what looked like a young woman drenched from head to toe as if she had just crawled out of the nearby river. She also looked like she was crying, banging her head on the road and waving for help. Malie posted the video of this encounter on TikTok and it instantly
That's fucking scary. Would you guys stop? I wouldn't. I mean, I'd call the police, but there ain't no way I'm stopping.
went viral, leading people to come up with all sorts of
Bro, that looks
far-fetched
like a
theories
fucking
about
skinwalker.
ghosts, spirits, etc. However, as wild as the theories got, Malie later posted several videos shutting them down and revealing what really happened. According to her, they kept circling back and driving past the disturbed woman several times after recording the first video to make sure she was okay. While none of them had the nerve to get out of the car and approach her, they did call the cops and waited nearby until help arrived. The woman was then taken to a nearby hospital where she was treated for cold exposure. As it turns out, she somehow fell into the Rogue River from the east side and swam across it onto the road.
Yep, she had to have come up out of the water. Yep, there's a dig spot there. So she came up from down there. That's had to have been why she was so wet.
I don't know.
This was the spot that she had left. I don't know why or what was going on.
After regaining some composure, she also revealed that the woman was from Kalamazoo, a town that's over 60 miles from where she was found. However, she had no recollection of how she got to Belmont and fell in a river so far away from home. From what we know, she was most likely experiencing a severe mental break, where her memory gap was caused by a rare condition known as Fugue state, something we covered in our previous video on the most disturbing mental disorder.
Dude, Fugue state is no joke. I'm pretty sure that's the one where you like legit have amnesia and you like completely forget who you are as a person.
For those who don't know, a fugue state is a rare condition where a person suddenly loses their memory and starts acting like someone else. They might wander off, travel long distances, or do things completely out of character without realizing anything is wrong. It's usually triggered by extreme stress or trauma, and once it's over, the person often has no memory of what happened. And while this condition is quite rare, all the signs suggest that's exactly what happened to this mysterious woman from Kalamazoo, especially since the authorities later found her car parked behind a random house just east of the river. She likely drove to that neighborhood on her own but had zero memory of doing so, which fits perfectly with the known symptoms of fugue state. Malie also shared her video in a local Facebook group hoping to find more answers about what went down. Unfortunately, the responses she received weren't as helpful as she'd hoped, since most people in the neighborhood believed the screaming and noises were just the sounds of a wild animal, like a coyote. But there were a few responses that deepened the mystery. Like this one person who remembered meeting her earlier that same night, stating, "Saw this person between Van Dam and Packer Woods around 10:15 p.m. Friday. Asked her if she needed help, to which she responded no." Another person also mentioned hearing about a woman walking into his neighbor's house, yelling hello 3 times and then leaving on her own.
What the
And
fuck?
while this added further evidence supporting the fugue state theory, these responses still left a key question unanswered. Who was she? Malie tried to contact both the police and the hospital for answers, but despite her insistence, both the police officers and the hospital staff refused to reveal her real name. That said, we still have enough information to make an educated guess. Based on everything I could uncover, the mysterious woman in this unsettling video was most likely Mei Zhou. She was a 28-year-old Chinese woman who went missing from Kalamazoo on May 6, 2021. Before her disappearance, she told her friends that she felt like she was being followed by a stalker she met online. Unfortunately, these are the only details about her case that were made public. I couldn't find any clear answers on whether the stalker was real or if she was just overwhelmed by paranoia. In either case, the constant fear and stress of feeling watched likely drove her to slip into some variation of the fugue state we discussed earlier. Hopefully she received the mental help she desperately needed and is now in a better mental state than she once was. Tracking down a missing person can be an extremely daunting task, but tracking down a person's personal information often isn't.
Ad.
For example, just by knowing your name and the town or
Ad.
city you live in, I could probably find out your address, phone number, make and model of your car, who your relatives are, and much more. This is
You guys
because
know about
data
this?
brokers collect all our information, package it, and sell it to whoever wants it. It can cost someone less than
Yo,
$1
Rock-On,
to
thank you for the
purchase this
resub.
information about you.
13 months.
Most people buying this information aren't trying to find missing persons. They're probably scammers or stalkers.
Yo, you guys know about that
If
shit?
you don't believe me, Google yourself right now and see what comes up. Thankfully, with my sponsor Aura, this type of thing can
You
be
guys know about
prevented.
that?
They can
Fucking
identify
companies
data
sell your
brokers who are
information,
selling
dude.
my information without my permission and automatically submit opt-out requests on my behalf.
You know about that, dude?
You can keep an eye on your opt-out request progress in your Aura account while they work.
What do you guys think about your camera being active when it's not like turned on? You know, I walk naked in front of my camera quite a bit. You guys do that? I let them watch. That's probably gonna come back to bite me, dude. Next thing, in like a couple years, you're gonna see like a peach pic. You guys know that, man? Like the camera. Some people say it's on even though it's off. And then companies will like sell your data and shit for
to
money.
remove your information. Give it a few weeks and
Yeah.
you'll stop seeing your data on these sites when you search for yourself, helping to reduce spam. Aura can also continuously monitor the dark web and alert me if they find my personal information exposed. They let you know fast
You
if
guys
anyone
ever been
tries
on
to
the
use
dark
this
web before?
information to access your credit or bank accounts. Plus, they give up to $5 million
never have.
in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. The Aura app also has a VPN with 100+ virtual
It's gonna be a peach with 2 toothpicks sticking out of the bottom of it. Get the fuck out of here.
locations. Does your current VPN have all these other features too? You can go to my link, aura.com
Feel like I'm on the
chilling
dark
scares
web
to
when
try
I'm in this
14
chat.
days for free. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. In June of 2024, streamer Lacey and his friend Clicks were doing an IRL live stream in Miami, Florida. The two were simply going around town and having fun. What they didn't realize was that this stream would end up saving someone's life. It happened a few hours into the stream when they sat down at the Starlight Hotel Cafe for lunch. As they waited to order, a guy walked up to their table wearing nothing but neon green shorts. Lacey and Clicks initially assumed he was just another fan eager to talk to his favorite streamers, a pretty typical scenario for popular IRL streamers.
I don't know
But
these
something
streamers.
about this young man didn't sit right. He was trying to keep a conversation going, but his words were slurred and nothing he said really made sense.
Hey, are you sparring, bro? Are you sparring? Yo, you good, bro? Doing what?
The streamers figured he was either drunk or on some kind of drugs. For content, they started poking fun at him a bit before shifting their focus back to their stream. But the guy continued to linger around, acting very odd and saying unintelligible sentences for the next half hour or so before finally leaving them for good. The streamers simply labeled it as an odd interaction from someone under the influence of something or another and continued on with their stream. Lacey later uploaded an edited down version of this stream on his YouTube channel. And that's when he got an email that made him realize the significance of what they had just caught on camera. 2 days after this video went up, Lacey received an email from a man named Trent
What
claiming
the
to be the
fuck?
brother of the guy seen in green shorts. It read, "Hello, my name is Trent Coleman, and my missing little brother from Michigan was on Clicks and Lacey's stream in Miami. He was wearing green shorts and they were making fun of him. He is not on drugs, he is schizophrenic, and he is 17 years old. If someone can contact me
What
about
the
this, I would
fuck?
be so thankful. He has been missing for 3 months, and his case was put on homicide in Michigan." In most
Holy
cases,
shit.
emails like these are just trolls trying to mess with creators. However, after some research, Lacey discovered that Trent was actually telling the truth and posted this new development on Twitter stating, "3 months ago, a 17-year-old kid went missing and was put on homicide. Yesterday on stream, he came up to me and Clicks, and now his family knows he is alive and in Miami. I wasn't sure if I should make this public, but I'm hoping somehow this helps him be found for his family." In a reply to his tweet, Lacey also attached an article that provided additional details about the case. Apparently, the teenager's name was Troy Coleman, and he had been missing from his home in Michigan since May of 2024. According to the article, Troy was last seen in Mount Morris Township around 9:30 a.m. on May 17th.
Dude, that's
And the
gotta
3
be
months since his
crazy,
disappearance,
man. Like dealing with someone with like schizophrenia. That's gotta be insane.
He had somehow traveled from Michigan
I
all
mean,
the
like,
way to Miami
literally
with no
insane.
medication, no money, and no clear explanation of how he got there. This was extremely concerning considering Troy's lack of vital medication for his schizophrenia was known to cause serious hallucinations.
Dude, I'm gonna be
His
real,
sudden
man. If I was ever in a situation, I would just leave.
reappearance only deepened the mystery. With no leads and no logical explanation, Michigan police were left so baffled that they even began investigating his case as a potential homicide. So, the fact that Troy randomly appeared on Lacey and Clix's stream and his brother just so happened to be watching that stream was nothing short of a miracle. But somehow, the
That's
coincidences
crazy.
keep piling up, and what happened next made the whole situation even stranger. While Troy was still on stream, another young fan approached the two streamers and tried to strike up a conversation. However, before he could even introduce himself, Troy interrupted them again and started saying something to the younger fan. He was still talking incoherently, which made the streamers even more uncomfortable and confused about his intentions. During this time, he also gave the younger fan the styrofoam cup he was holding. The young boy quickly took a sip of whatever was in the cup and walked away. Lacey's cameraman
What the fuck? You're just gonna take a drink of some random shit?
noticed the exchange and immediately pointed it out to the streamer. By now, they were convinced that Troy was on drugs, and that raised a serious concern. Had he just given the kid something laced? Not wanting to ignore it, Lacey decided to confront Troy, asking him directly what was in the cup. But to their surprise, Troy's answer was a lot more coherent than expected. He simply stated that it was just a soft drink from Beacon Hotel.
What was in the drink?
Kidding.
What was in that drink?
In the drink?
Yeah. You gave it to a
It was Coke from Beacon Hotel.
like Coca-Cola? Alright, making sure. You gave it to the kid.
I gave it to a kid.
This coincidental interaction gave authorities the crucial lead they needed. Troy was, in fact, staying at the very hotel he had mentioned. From there, it didn't take long for investigators to track
Dude, how did he stay in a Dude, okay. How did he stay at a hotel? Did he have money? He didn't look like he had any money.
down Troy and reunite him with his family, who were overjoyed to have him back. In a later interview with People.com, Troy's father, Weston Coleman, shared even more heartbreaking details of what Troy went through. According to him, Troy actually wanted to visit Florida to find and meet celebrities. He did his research online and saved up as much money as he could before setting off. Troy made it to Atlanta by bus, but that's where things took a turn for the worst. During his stay in Atlanta, he was robbed of everything he had. Left with nothing, he traveled the rest of the way to Miami completely broke. Despite the hardship,
Okay. Hold up. Why the fuck are you gonna let a 17-year-old travel like across the country to meet celebrities alone? And then he gets robbed. Why didn't he call or something? This story is insane.
his family was ultimately glad that he was still alive and well, with his father stating, "I'm just glad he's alive at this point and now can't believe we found him. We all feel a lot better," and
Did he just sneak out?
the hotel he had mentioned. From there, it didn't take long for investigators to track down Troy and reunite him with his family, who were overjoyed to
Maybe
have
I
him
missed
back.
that part.
In a later interview with People.com, Troy's father, Weston Coleman, shared even more heartbreaking details of what Troy went through. According to him, Troy actually wanted to visit Florida to find and meet celebrities. He did his research online and saved up as much money as he could before setting off. Troy made it to Atlanta by bus, but that's where things took a turn for the worse.
They didn't say it.
During his stay in Atlanta, he was robbed of everything he had. Left with nothing, he traveled the rest of the way to Miami completely broke. Despite the hardship, his family was ultimately glad that he was still alive and well, with his father stating, "I'm just glad he's alive at this point and now can't believe we found him. We all feel a lot better and we thank everybody." From what I can find, that Troy's been living with his family in Michigan ever since and has managed to stay out of any more trouble.
Damn, that story's crazy, man. I don't know, man. I'm not in that situation, so I'm ignorant to it. But doesn't that seem sus to you? Doesn't that seem a little weird? Like, think about it, man. You have a person you love, and you know they have schizophrenia, and they have like mental disorder, and you're gonna let them just leave the house alone? Like, to me, that sounds weird. Something about that doesn't seem right. But you know what? I don't know. I've never dealt with someone with that, so who knows, man? You know, who knows? Anyway, crazy story.
On August
Yeah,
3,
like just
2013,
yeah, just like from the outside, but we don't know the full story. I don't know. Seems sus to me. But anyway,
40-year-old James DiMaggio
Anyway,
invited
I mean, I don't
family
really know
friend
much about the
Christina
situation, so.
Anderson and her two kids, 8-year-old Ethan and 16-year-old Hannah, over to his home in Boulevard, California. He claimed it was just a farewell visit before moving to Texas. And this wasn't anything unusual. James had been a close friend with both Christina and her husband Brett for quite some time, and was like an uncle to the kids. And since Brett was away for a 3-month job in Tennessee, James helped the family regularly with things like driving Hannah to and from her gymnastics class. However, what seemed like an innocent invitation quickly turned into a horrifying nightmare. It started on August 4 when the children's grandparents called the police and reported the family as missing after not hearing from Christina all day. They also informed the police about the family's plan to visit James. However, when investigators reached James's home, it was already engulfed in flames. Firefighters rushed to the scene and suppressed the fire. Unfortunately, they were too late. Inside the burnt house, they discovered the bodies of Christina Anderson, her son Ethan, and even the family dog. And while this could have been nothing more than
Even the dog, bro.
a tragic accident, the reality was far more cruel. Later autopsy discovered severe injuries on Christina. These included signs of plastic cable ties around her ankle and arms, duct tape
Holy
marks
shit.
around her neck and mouth, multiple fractures in her right arm and both legs, a cut on her neck, and signs of at least 12 heavy strikes to the head. Her 8-year-old son Ethan also had multiple fractures throughout his body. However, despite the horrific scene, there were no signs of James or Hannah anywhere near the house. It didn't take long for investigators to connect the dots and realize that James DiMaggio was the mastermind behind this horrific crime. It also became clear that he had orchestrated the murders not just out of violence, but with the intent to kidnap Hannah. His actions were calculated and driven by some twisted obsession as he took her from everything she had in her life.
Jesus
After learning about this, the
Christ.
police quickly issued a statewide Amber Alert in hopes of getting any information regarding James and missing Hannah's whereabouts. In the meantime, investigators also discovered security footage of James passing through the Border Patrol checkpoint in Pine Valley at around 10 p.m. This also prompted them to launch a massive manhunt spanning the entire Pacific coast from British Columbia to Baja California. However, despite the massive effort and the hundreds of man-hours put into the search, the manhunt turned up empty. Every lead seemed to result in a dead end, and the odds of successfully rescuing Hannah started to dwindle with every passing day. Things looked bleak. That is, until 3 days later when 2 horseback riders spotted a man and a girl while trekking through the remote wilderness of Cascade, Idaho.
Man,
They had
that's
seen
pretty.
the broadcast of Hannah's disappearance on TV and instantly recognized the young girl and her captor. They reported the sighting to authorities, who instantly began investigating the area, and soon after they found James's car with its plates removed to avoid detection. However, it still took them 3 more days to track down the campsite James was hiding in. The FBI had set up a jet with a sophisticated long-range camera recording from thousands of feet above, which is what you're seeing now. This
Holy
footage
fuck.
confirmed they had found the missing Hannah. On the 10th of August, the FBI took it upon itself to rescue Hannah and mobilized a tactical team for the mission. They kept eyes
He
on
just
James
took
for
her
some
out to the
time,
woods?
looking for the right moment to attack. However, he was sticking close to Hannah, which made it near impossible for the rescue team to make their move. Fortunately, after some time, James moved away to gather some firewood. And while he was completely oblivious, Hannah actually spotted a rescue helicopter and started waving for help. This was the perfect opportunity, and the FBI didn't let it go to waste. They quickly moved in and carried Hannah to safety. After noticing the rescue mission, James took out one of the guns he had with him and fired at an officer. The rescue team then returned fire, resulting in him getting shot 6 times in the head, arms, and upper
Jesus.
torso. Hannah was finally safe, and while this was one of the most terrifying experiences a teenage girl can have, Hannah's managed to completely bounce back. She is now 27 years old and is happily living with her husband and 1-year-old son in Vancouver, Canada.
Holy fuck. I mean, good for her. Okay. Holy shit. An actual good ending. She had like her whole family taken away from her, and then she was in the fucking woods for days. What a fucking psychopath.
On the 27th of May 2013,
Jesus
around 4
Christ, man. This is a good video.
p.m., 73-year-old Robert McDonough disappeared from his home in Portland, Maine. Now, an elderly person going missing is extremely stressful on its own. However, what made Robert's situation even more dire was the fact that he was also suffering from dementia. For those who don't know, dementia is a mental condition which makes it difficult to remember things, think clearly, or even recognize familiar faces. People with dementia can
That's gotta
forget
be me.
everything from their own names to the faces of loved ones,
Holy
leaving them
shit!
confused about where they
Yo,
are or how
what
they
is this footage?
got there. This can also extend to forgetting where they live. For someone with dementia, wandering outside can quickly turn from a harmless mistake to a life-threatening situation. A person with memory loss isn't just lost in terms of direction, they're lost in terms of identity and awareness. They forget how to care for themselves, how to recognize danger, and how to make decisions in an increasingly hostile world. These conditions could prove to be lethal for a healthy young adult, and the danger is increased tenfold for a frail elderly man trying to navigate a world that no longer makes sense to him. He could have easily wandered into traffic or tripped and fallen in a remote area, and no one would have known. Put simply, Robert's life was in extreme danger. This is also why the authorities moved quickly after receiving the missing report and began searching every corner of the city within hours of his disappearance.
Dude, that'd be wild to just like forget who you are, or forget like what a car is or what a house is. Like, holy shit.
Search and rescue teams spent more than 14 hours searching an area of Leamington after 73-year-old Robert McDonough, who has dementia, disappeared Monday afternoon. Around 6 a.m., search teams were briefed and started to intensify their effort.
It was going into the second operational period, which means we're starting to ramp up, using a lot of GPS technology. Well, again, we'd have our pilots, we'd have ATVs, canines.
However, they were having a hard time figuring out where Robert could have gone. When someone with dementia goes missing, searching for them is not like searching for someone who's just wandered off. In most cases, they don't even realize they're lost at all. They might walk aimlessly or even retrace the same steps without ever reaching familiar ground. Their confusion can send them in any direction, far from where they should be. But then, about 14 hours into the search, something happened that no one saw coming. On May 28 at 6:30 a.m., a reporter from Portland's local network was recording a section about the disappearance of Robert on the street, when, out of nowhere, an old man walked into the frame.
That is insanely lucky. What the fuck?
At first, the reporter brushed him off as just another bystander. But after a few moments, he suddenly realized who the elderly man was. This was Robert McDonough,
Holy
or Bob as he
shit.
went by, the man everyone
Dude, what
was
are the
looking for.
chances?
Anybody give a phone call?
Calling the warden service. They're at the
I'm still on the phone.
This is Bob. This is you identifying as Bob McDonough?
I think so. It's Bob McDonough. Yeah.
He looks a lot like a
Watch
guy.
yourself. Watch yourself.
Yeah. That's Bob McDonough.
Fortunately, he was completely unharmed, despite being out in the cold all night. Upon realizing his identity, the news crew immediately contacted the authorities. And it wasn't long before Robert was reunited with his family. But here's the thing, Robert returning like this was nothing more than a stroke of good luck. While his story had a somewhat happy ending, it could have just as easily turned into an irreparable loss.
Damn. Yo, that video was good.